Hey, welcome back to my channel where you're learning how to knit. So we are learning how to knit continental, which is just one way of knitting. It's my personally preferred way. It's up to you which one you actually prefer, but if you're trying this out, I invite you to follow along these videos. Last week we did a cast on, the week before we did a knit stitch, and today we are going to do a purl stitch, which is the exact opposite of a knit stitch in terms of your fabric and the two sides of your fabric. So when you knit one side and you purl the other side, you're going to see that you're going to create a pattern called stockinette. It's a really beautiful knitting pattern that you are going to find in a lot of patterns, a lot of sweaters, t-shirts, not so often in blankets, although when it is a combination between garter stitch and stockinette, remember garter stitch is knitting all the stitches on both sides of your fabric, then you will also find it inside of blankets. But mostly it's used for garments, for sweaters, for t-shirts and stuff like that. So I'm super excited to show you this second really basic knit stitch continental way. So mind you, mine looks probably different than what you might have seen out there, but I highly encourage you to try this method out, because if you are continuing the continental knitting, if this is brand new to you in general, then just go with the flow and you're going to be able to knit much faster than if you were doing the American way. With all that said, let's dive in.
Okay, let's get started. So here you can see the stockinette stitch and what it looks like on the right side. On the wrong side, it looks like the bubbles, similar to the ones that you get when you do garter stitch. However, when you do garter stitch, you actually have an extra row in between these. So you'll actually see your right knitted stitches in there, and it does look a little bit less compressed, which is why it's slightly different. But this is what the back looks like of a stockinette, and this is what the front will look like. So this is the side that's going to be knitted. To go back to the knit stitch and learn that one, go back into the other videos and you will be able to see it there. And then this is the side that we're going to purl right now. So let me show you how we purl. Okay, obviously you're going to hold your yarn that comes from the back in your left hand. Remember, wrapping it around your finger like this so that it has an easy way to slip through as you go. Okay, here we go. So my yarn comes in front of the working needle. I'm sorry, of the left needle. This is my working needle. Remember, when we knit the stitch, we go in and then we grab the yarn from the back. But when we purl, it's quite literally the opposite of that same stitch, because we want to make it look exactly like this, but we have to do it from the back. So we do the opposite. We actually have the yarn behind, as if we were coming from this side. We go into the stitch and the yarn at the same time. Now you're in here, and now we are grabbing the yarn just like we normally do from the front. And here's the tricky part. You're going to hold on to your yarn right here with your thumb so it doesn't slip off as you just pull the needle through the original stitch, but you also will have this loop right on your needle from wrapping the yarn around. And then the next thing is letting it go. And then as you can see, it forms the exact same stitch as a knit would do if you were knitting it from this side. So once more, yarn over and then into, so here I'm going in to the stitch and the yarn at the same time. I grab my yarn, just one loop around, hold it here, and then very close to this needle. I'm literally always touching this needle. I'm sliding past that needle just to make sure that my loop does not slide off. And then you're safe to slide it off. Okay, let me show you a couple more rounds. Maybe a bit faster, and then I'm going to slow it way down. So you always just kind of use your finger and just slip it back over as soon as you're done with the next stitch. Off. And it's going to become a very fluid motion once you practice this a little bit more. I still find the purl stitch a little bit harder to do than the knit stitch, and not that it's hard, It's just a bit more, you move your hands a little bit more than if you were just doing this, right? But just to keep in mind, it is just the opposite of the knit stitch in terms of being mirrored from the other side. Okay, in, wrap the yarn around, hold it, and close to the other needle, slide it through. Let's slow it way down. Now I'm going to knit to the end of the row, and then you can see what it looks like. And then just let go of your needle. And when you do purl the last stitch of each row, I talked about this before, you're going to end up with this really nice clean edge. So let's check it out. And here you go. Now, when you start knitting again, if you want to continue this pattern, the stockinette, you would just start here again and would actually do a regular knit stitch. So it's knit on one side, purl on the other, and that will give you this gorgeous stockinette pattern. That's it. That's the purl stitch. I hope you enjoyed learning this. Make sure you save the video so you can watch it over and over. And happy knitting, friends.
And that's all there is to the purl stitch. Super simple once you get the hang of it. But I feel like when you watch it, it becomes so much more easy and so much more clear to really understand how it works. And it's just so cool to see that it's literally just the opposite of the knit stitch, which makes it so much simpler to really grasp the concept and how it works. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please share it with your friends if you did enjoy it. Check out the other videos as well. There's some other wellness classes and videos inside of my channel as well. And I want to invite you to our Casual Knitters free Facebook group where you can hang out with other people who are also learning how to knit or just sharing, other techniques and tips and tricks that I have learned along the way. I will see you over there. The link is right here below this video. See you next time.